excited about this meeting, so if you could find a seat, if there is a seat. We've got a pretty full room tonight. I want to thank you all for coming. Happy New Year, happy 2016. Thank you for coming to the Beaches Watch meeting. My name is Sandy Golding, and I am president of Beaches Watch. For those of you who may or may not know who Beaches Watch is, we are a nonprofit civic organization here in the beaches, and our focus is educating and engaging citizens in the issues that are coming before our elected officials, primarily regarding issues that affect our quality of life. And so we're so glad to see all of you here tonight for the State of the Beaches meeting with our 3 beaches mayors. I want to recognize some people before we get started. We have several elected officials here besides our honorable mayors. We have from Andrew Crenshaw's office, where is she? We have Jackie Smith.
The Capitol, for those of you that like me, like
paper calendars at the entrance, so from DC. We also have our Jacksonville City Councilman Bill Gulliford here tonight. And Bill is going to be our speaker for our February meeting, which is going to be Friday, February 3rd. I hope everybody got an agenda when you came in tonight, because that has the meeting information on it. And Bill is going to talk to us about Jacksonville issues that are important to the beaches. We also have from Jacksonville Beach, we have City Councilwoman Chris Hoffman. Where are you? Do we have any other Jacks Beach City Council that came in? We have, City Councilman Bruce Thomason. We also have Jacks Beach Police Chief Pat Dooley. And we have George Forbes, who's the city manager for Jacksonville Beach. For Neptune Beach, we have Kara Tucker, who's here. Where are you, Kara? And Scott Wiley. And we have Richard Arthur. Am I missing any of the city council people from Neptune Beach? We also have city manager Andy Hyatt, excuse me. And then we also have City Attorney Patrick Krachowski. And then from Atlantic Beach, who do we have from Atlantic Beach? We have Mayor Mitch, please. Just Mitch. Okay. And is there anybody else that I've missed? Okay, well, thank you all for coming tonight. We really appreciate you being here. Again, I hope you picked up an agenda. On the agenda, we have some announcements. We hope that you will take these home with you, and we are doing our 2016 membership drive for Beaches Watch. As a member of Beaches Watch, it's $10 for an individual, $15 for a family. And your membership helps us continue to hold these meetings, and we do forums, candidate forums for the city council races, and for some of the local, like school board and local state races as well. And so we appreciate your support with your membership. Also, we do a Friend of the Beaches award every year, and this is something that we do to recognize an individual or a business or a organization for exemplary contributions to our quality of life. And this is a recognition just to, there's a lot of things, we hear a lot of negative things throughout the year, but this is an opportunity to recognize something positive that's going on in the community. So we are looking for nominations for our Friend of the Beaches Award, and you can email us at info@beacheswatch.com with your nomination, and there's information on the agenda about that. Then also there's an Atlantic Beach Town Hall meeting on Saturday, January 9th, and maybe you'll talk about that, Mitch. So, but that's from 10 to noon at the Jordan Park Community Center. So we hope all the Atlantic Beach residents will plan to go to that. And then just want to remind everybody that the January city meetings are going to be, the dates are going to be different because of the Martin Luther King holiday. So Jacksonville Beach's city council meeting that would normally be held the third Monday will be held the third Tuesday instead. And the same for Neptune Beach, correct? Yes. Well, your workshop will be the third Tuesday instead of Monday, correct? Okay. And then also I want to let you know that the Jacksonville Beach Police Academy, Citizens Police Academy, is getting started up. This will be number 36. This was started by former Chief Bruce Thomason, and it's a great experience. If you have not done it, you should do it because it is a really, really good experience. And there's information on the agenda here about how you can sign up for it. It's Thursday nights, and it'll be the best $25 you spent. And you'll learn a lot. So we encourage you to consider applying for the Police Academy. And then again, our February meeting will be Bill Goldford talking about Jacksonville Beach issues. So, do we have any other announcements real quick before we move to our main program? Okay, well, I'd like to welcome our mayors tonight. This is always a very popular meeting. We appreciate them taking their time tonight to come out and talk to us and tell us about the state of the beaches. And what we'll do is we'll let each of the mayors, they'll have an opportunity to do their piece. And then once they're done, we'll open up the floor to questions. So we're going to start tonight with ladies first. Mayor Harriet Pruette with Neptune Beach.
Thank Beaches Watch for having this. I think Sandy and her team at Beaches Watch does a great job, and I think she deserves a big hand. I'd also like to thank my new city manager for helping me get some information together. I'm going to start with some current issues. Number one is parking. The Beaches Town Center is proposing a 2-hour parking limit in Town Center for council consideration. And we'll be looking at that this month. It's my opinion that we need to start trying to find a way to at least resolve some of the parking issues. Beaches Town Center is a very popular place to be, and it's only going to continue, I think, to get more and more people down there. So I think we should get with Atlantic Beach and Town Center and the businesses and the business owners and try to resolve some of the parking issues. Next would be former city manager Jarbo. In regards to the issue with our former city manager, he is represented by legal counsel, and our city attorney has met with his attorneys, and our city attorney is preparing a response to their letter that was delivered before the holidays. Of major importance to the council, and I believe to the community, is that both sides be fair, be transparent, and be honest about the entire situation. We hope that a mutually agreeable resolution will be reached soon so we can put this all behind us and move on. When represented by legal counsel, the attorneys are the ones to comment, so this is all I will have to say regarding this. Next would be the police officers' retirement system. We are 82% funded. We have $1.4 million unfunded liability. Council is in the process of approving a 13th check for the retirees in the amount of $43,250 from the state money. We have had some police officers that have been retired for 20 years, 10 years, 15 years, and they have never received a COLA. I know when I retired, I didn't know that I was going to have cell phones to pay for, and internet service, and cable TV, and it's now about $350 more than I ever envisioned. So I'm glad to see that we are able to give them this money. I don't like the fact that we as taxpayers or homeowners have to pay it out of our insurance, but it's the state's money. The state has donated for them, and I'm glad that Neptune Beach is able to do this. Our workshops, considering the budget this year, will be earlier. We will be doing it a little bit different, and we will begin in February. For some new businesses that are coming in, which I'm thrilled about, Bono's is building the new building next to Winn-Dixie. And it's going to be a very nice building. They're going to have a patio, and they're going to serve wine. We're just going to have a good time there. And then it'll be ready probably in early spring. And Ellen's Kitchen is relocating to Neptune Beach, and I'm very, very pleased with that. We need another breakfast place in Neptune Beach and a nice place to go. So they'll be here in about 60 days. We have Southern Grounds coming by early February, and that's where the old Lily's was. I understand the food is very good. We also, concerning building permits, we have 12 single-family permits, mostly east of 3rd Street coming up. We have 4 duplex permits in the Pareto Ferro area, or the R4 district. We have issued a total of 1,198 total building permits, and the valuation of that work totals $21,017,761, and that's pretty good for Neptune Beach. Under financial matters, the City of Neptune Beach finished this year on a positive note. Based on unaudited figures, departmental expenditures were 3.4% less than budgeted, and the revenues we received were greater than anticipated, resulting in an addition to the city's reserves of approximately $10,000. City Clerk's office alone saved the city over $50,000. It was thought earlier that we would have to use some of our reserves due to expenditures incurred in search for a new city manager, but it appears that no reserves were needed for this process, and that's good. And part of the reason for this good news was that the property values increased for our city by about 4%, and state revenues increased this year by approximately 3%, and the expectation is the trend will continue in the upcoming fiscal year. And then some of the plans for the coming year, we're going to hire a police chief. It's been advertised in the local papers, the city's website, the Florida League of Cities website, and the deadline for applications is January the 15th. Initial interviews will take place the week of January the 18th by our city manager, and plans are to make an offer and to have a new chief in place by February the 1st for the council confirmation. To date, we have 29 applicants from various states, and our interim chief of police, Tony Carrillo, decided that he wanted to retire, so he has put in his retirement effective January the 29th, 2016. Which is the end of the month, right before we get our new chief. Regarding parks, we're going to have a master plan for Jarbo Park, and it will consist of public meetings for input. We are going to refurbish our signs at all our parks, use the logo, the welcome sign logo, and under it we will put the name of the park and spruce up our parks. I know right now we just completed the project there at the 5 Point area in Neptune Beach with the flags, and we're going to add a swing set and a bench so the parents can come down and be with their children in the back of it and enjoy that area. And that's Stevens Park. We also just installed 98 palm trees along 1st Street, and I think that was it was certainly a plus, I think, for our city. It was something I visioned for a long time ago, and I never dreamed it would happen. When I used to come to Florida and visit my aunt in the 50s, 1st Street was lined with palm trees, and through the years they've all died back. And we have a water problem in places on 1st Street, and I think that those palm trees will suck up some of that water when we've had some heavy rains. In relation to, I'm sure y'all saw the paper last week, I had written a letter to Janet Atkins. Last year I was here, and I proudly announced that we were going to get a welcome sign for Neptune Beach when you come in on Atlantic Boulevard, and it's been a year, and we still haven't seen that sign. It's just been one thing after another. So I sent Janet Atkins a letter last week, and I want to thank Janet, because every time we've had to call her for something, which is, I think, Pete's Bar, she got that permit right away, and her office is now working to help us make sure we get the sign in, hopefully, I've been told, by the end of next month. So I look forward to us being able to put that sign up to welcome people into Neptune Beach. Public Works will continue paving. They resurfaced approximately 3 miles in fiscal year 16, between 250 to 300,000 annually on paving now. Our city manager will be going to Tallahassee regularly, and I'm glad to see him do it. He's going to meet with our state reps and work in seeking funding for some things. One would be the potable water project, installation of main water line, and that would be approximately $1,400,000. A stormwater project, intersection of Florida Boulevard at 5th Avenue, and that would be approximately $950,000. And Neptune Beach has invested $1.6 million in water, wastewater, and stormwater projects since December of 2013. And when it comes to that, there's always something that we need to do there. The sewer rehabilitation will continue in 400 and 500 blocks South Street to Seagate Avenue, and we have $2 million in available funds for that. The package plant, the plant modification for nitrogen reduction is partially state funded by the St. Johns River Management District, and sanitation will be going out requesting for an RFP to be sent out in February for a garbage service. Right now, our current garbage carrier is Waste Pro. In reference to our dune crossovers, Neptune Beach will be applying for a Florida Recreation Development Assistance Program money to replace and improve the dune crossovers to include ADA accessibility. And we will soon, before long, hopefully, and maybe by March, we will see an ADA accessible mat that gives that access to the beach. And I know there's a lot of people that I've talked to that are looking forward to that are handicapped. Beach renourishment, $15 million beach renourishment plan, no cost to the city, so that will start, scheduled to begin July 16th. And at the end of the year, Neptune Beach will see a new mayor. It's been an honor and privilege to be here and be with y'all through the years. I have served 16 consecutive years, and I will continue to be a part of this community. I will still go to the meetings with my friends. I might not speak up as much, but I'll be there keeping track of what's going on, and I hope to do some volunteer work. So if anybody needs any volunteer work, give us some thought, let me know, because I have to do something. And again, it's an honor to be here, and thank y'all.
Let it be known that Beaches Watch is calling dibs on Harriet Pruette for volunteer work. We get first dibs. Anybody else is going to have to get in line. So, all right, so thank you so much, Harriet. And next we'd like to have new Atlantic Beach Mayor Mitch Reeves come up and do.
Thank you, Beaches Watch, and it's an honor to be here tonight as the Atlantic Beach Mayor to talk to each of you to tell what's going on in our city. To me, it's a new experience for myself and a new young commission. The experience is of 2 years. We have one commissioner that has 2 years. Everybody else has about 30 days. Are we dying? Are we? No. So it's going to be an exciting thing. So some of the challenges that we have, this thing's going in and out. Yeah, that's right. I got batteries and, no I don't. I'll try to do it. If it doesn't, I'll put it down and speak so it doesn't sound back and forth. First of all, before I talk about some of our current issues, is one of the things is we are a young commission. But it's kind of exciting to be young. It's exciting to... It's really exciting to be young because you have new ideas. And sometimes there's not something wrong with that, because a lot of times people go, this is how we do it. And this new commission is saying, just because we've always done it that way doesn't mean it's the right way. Doesn't mean it's the wrong way. So that's the challenges that we're going to have this year, is to figure out what's the right way and what's the wrong way. So those are challenges that we have. Some of the key challenges that we have are not any different than any other beach city or city in Florida right now. Is, as you know, we had a big rainstorm, tremendous rain that hit our city within 2 hours. There was no way that that rain, we're lucky what we did, the less damage we had. Everything worked. The system worked. I wanted to blame it on Neptune Beach because the side that flood, that goes across Atlantic, down to Neptune, out to their coastal, but they're okay too, because theirs was working just as fine because we sent people out there. So those systems were working great. But we really need to go back in our neighborhoods and look. So the 2 challenges for this year is the flooding and drainage in some of these neighborhoods. There's a lot of people that lost about $35,000 a home that didn't have insurance. And we couldn't get FEMA. So that's a big issue for us to try to make sure that doesn't happen to those people again. The other thing is, just like everybody else, the police and the general pension fund. It is just amazing what I've learned about that. And every day I learn something new about that. We're about 9 million back, and it grows every year. We'll eventually have to do something, whether we want to or we don't want to. And that depends on the state to work with us. It also depends with Mayor Curry, what he does with the tax, with the Better Jacksonville, because we get a percentage of that. My theory, he doesn't know this, I want a bigger percentage of it, you know. But it's important to us because it's important for our community. So we have to really look at that. Those are things that you can't control. You can control, but you got to make tough decisions. Those are the priority things. The other thing is our budget is, it's interesting that when you come in as a new commission, you inherit whatever the last commission gave you. And sometimes they spend some of the money before you even get in office. And this year, as you well know, Atlantic Beach is about $32,656,700. That was a $5 million increase. Now, it sounds like a lot, but what that is one of it is the police department. Because we actually put it in the budget and budgeted for it, which is about $2.8 million to remodel the new police department. So those are challenges that we have in those budgets. The exciting thing that I want to talk about tonight is we will have the first reading, Atlantic Beach will have the first reading to annex the Atlantic Beach Country Club. That is huge. We have not annexed since Gulliford was a young boy in 1987. and we annexed 238 acres, and I went back and looked at research, and the city manager must have known what he was saying, because the next day he said, don't expect us to be out there putting pipes in and doing all this work and everything. We are really lucky on this Atlantic Beach Country Club, because we're going to have the first reading on January 11th. We will have the second reading on January 25th. And after that, at that time, the Atlantic Beach Country Club will be part of Atlantic Beach. That is going to be a development that will bring us around $425,000 in new tax dollars. Now, that sounds good, but what you got to do is you can't say that a budget, we're getting the $425, how do we spend that? We have to change our thoughts, and that's what we want to do this year. This is a strategy for us. A budget is a budget. It's not an expense account. We've got to rethink that. And how do we do that? So that's a challenge for this year. But it's going to be exciting that we're going to annex that, the first annexation. And it's exciting that Jacksonville has actually worked with us to allow us to do it, because that takes some tax dollars from them. The other thing that we're doing, over 10 years, it's been an issue on and on and on, the police building. We will start taking bids this month. We've sat down and had many sessions about it. The police department's got to move for about, we're looking at about 10 months. It's got to move somewhere else. So we sat down and talked about it, and how do we save the taxpayers' dollars? Do we move it and rent from somebody at high rent? Because, you know, rent here at the beach is expensive. We're not renting from anyone. We have found facilities all over the city that we will spread that out, and it will not affect our police department. The sheriff's office has been very kind to us. Chief Dooley, I'll give you a credit on this. Jack's Beach reached out to us about our 911 communications. They just only have one seat. Communications works over the telephone anyway. The sheriff's office is working with it at no cost to us to move our 911 system down there. So when you call, you won't even know you're calling Jacksonville. That's a savings. We're using city buildings to move departments around. City Hall will have the records in City Hall. The chief will have his place. It's great. We've saved thousands of dollars to do that. So that's exciting for us, because we're going to start that project. We're at $2.8 billion. I've encouraged, we're going out for bids, and we've put some incentives that they get to keep a percentage if they keep the cost down. I would like to move that. I know it may not be possible, but I've always said that 2.6 was the right number. That's what we have. That's what we don't have to do the tax dollars. I would like to see that reduced, and we're going to try to reduce that. I'm not making a promise on that, but we're actually looking at how we can reduce that cost. The other thing, for some reason, the last commission, and I guess our commission, we love Seminole Road. It is the main artery of our city to come in. There's a couple projects right now on the books for this year. is a project for $1,930,000 of different projects for Seminole Road. One project is the replacement of the water main all the way from Atlantic Beach to the 5-way stop. The second is the improvements, which is about $900,000 of Seminole Road, and that will change it to kind of make an island in there, open up at Atlantic Beach. That's going to be, we're going to do a big presentation, a public hearing to show a full thing, do we want to do that? And that cost is there. The next is resurfacing of Seminole Road from 5-way all the way to the end. That will start this month. Instead of contracting, we've reached out to Jacksonville and piggybacked their contract, saving money with their values. We're starting to see a better relationship working with Mayor Curry's staff that wants to work and help us, and it's been a great thing, a great relationship for us at the beaches. We're finally doing that, and I think it's important to save money. The other project is we're doing the effluent, what is it called? Effluent outflow replacement. Now I know you're going to ask me what that is. I had no idea what that was until 20 minutes ago. What that is that's the booth of water that goes through and it goes out to the ocean. And the good news is we estimate it's about $300,000 to get it done. The great news is that it's shared between the 3 cities. And we share that. I don't know what the percentages are, but we kind of share that because they tie into us, we finish it out to the ocean, so we kind of share that cost. That's another good thing about the 3 cities working together. That's how you save money, and that's what we want to do. Work very closely with our sister cities. The legislature is going to be kind of interesting because we all know how they operate. Some of the things that we want to make sure that we do in the legislature is we're concerned about home rule. Don't be changing things on us. Don't put demands on us that you don't allow us to be able. If you're going to tell us to do something, give us the funding to do it. If you can't find the funding for us to do it, then don't tell us to do it. That's one of the legislature things that's coming up that we want to do. The other is kind of a local thing. The vacation rental, short rentals, is really a home rule city deciding what to do. The legislature wants to tell us how to do that. So if a city does not want to have short-term rentals, they want to tell you, yes, you will. One of the other things that's bills in there, they want to tell you when you have your election. There's a bill that wants to tell you when you will have your election. So cities may not be able, I don't think that's going to go through, but those are the kind of bills that you face. One exciting thing too about this year is Atlantic Beach has always loved their parks. And they love their tree canopy, and there's a lot of different things about the city. What's exciting about our city is this year we're going to spend, not counting on the project, we're going to spend about $200,000 of different projects in all of our parks. Now that $200,000 I'm speaking of is hard money that we're going to do with improvements, swings, parks, benches, reevaluation of things. It doesn't include 2 other projects that we have that we will vote on next Monday. Will we buy the Bennett property for $200,000? Will we make that investment? If we do, that increases our parks. The other project that's not been released is the Marsh Multi-Purpose, and that is rated at, depending on grants, about $540,000. That's still sitting there because we're not really sure if we want to move in that direction. So that's an evaluation. And I tell you why I say we're not sure. It is time for us as a commission, and what we want to do is to listen to the citizens. It is important. Do we want to invest that $540,000 in there? So that's the good news. Those are some challenges that we have. But it's exciting what we're doing in our parks. One thing that was challenged, and I'm going to go back to the first question, is when you buy new property and you invest in the parks, you've got to have a program. For every action, there's a reaction. So if we do this, how are we going to take care of the parks that we have now? I did a survey walking through. We have a lot of repairs to do. And if you're not going to repair those, then why do you want to keep investing if you can't take care? I love when people say, you just don't know what it's going to look like in 200 years from now. Well, I'm not going to be here 200 years. I'll just hope to see it in 10 years. But you've got to invest in the cost. And so you got to do that. So that is some of those issues. Now I'll just I'll end by this. Our commission really, and this is what I love, what the question was, is how can the citizens help you? And what we really want, and we're really focusing this year, is we want involvement by our citizens. We're going to do a push this year to invite and make sure people dial in on us during our commission meetings. On the internet. We're live on the internet. You can watch it. You can have your popcorn, you can have your wine, you can sit there on the big screen TV. We're probably the only city that you pay high taxes and give you free entertainment every 2 weeks. We want you to take advantage of what we're giving. We want you to come challenge us. We want you to come to our commission meetings and be part of our city. Because when you do, this is what we want to do. It's so important. What we want you to do is get involved. We want you to join a board. We want you to take a park. We want you to say you want to dedicate a bench to a park. You want to take over a tree of planting. You want to do something. Get involved in your city. And yes, we want the final results. Get involved. Run for office. Now the thing that I'll tell you that's different for me for office that I didn't understand is one day, and this is a thing that we need to work with the legislature. The Sunshine Law is a wonderful, wonderful law, but it sure ties your hands to get things done. That two commissioners, I can't talk, we need to rethink that. Because we're all a small community, you're not going to do anything wrong. We need to rethink about how I can sit down with a commissioner and have a debate about something publicly. You're going to start seeing that. You're seeing the beach's leaders doing it. We have public notices now. Our commissioners are meeting with each other under public notice. And believe it or not, citizens are showing up. Now, it's the weirdest thing I ever did to sit there and have two people listen to your 6 people, and you two are supposed to have a conversation like they're not there. It's really strange. But it's working, and it gets things. We have to kind of relook at that. And I wish the legislature would rethink that, because they can talk to two people. Two of those people can talk. I can't talk to another commissioner about an issue. So those are important to make our community. We're small communities. We would love to see that change. I think it would make all of us. But ending that, I'm sorry I spoke too long. But they say if you can't say it in 3 minutes, don't say it at all. And I'm certain we've passed that. But it's going to be an exciting year for Orlando Beach. It really is. Because we have so much, it's so exciting that we have so new ideas and new people that want to make changes. I'll laugh about this because I made a thing. I said I was going to wear a tie to every meeting. And Mayor, that was your idea. I stole that from you. I did that. And somebody said to me, why do you do that? We're a beach city. The rest of you, how are you going to force other people to do that? And I said, it's interesting because people, if we change that image, and that's what we want to do in our city council meeting. We want people to believe in us. People start showing up. I show up, somebody else shows up in a tie. I get a call from a new commissioner. This is not a violation of the Sunshine Law. He calls me and he says, Mayor, I went and bought 2 suits and a sports coat. I'm ready. The message got there. Thank you, Mayor. You're the one. I watched you do that, and it's a big improvement. We owe you the respect. It's going to be an exciting year for Orlando Beach, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Mayor Reeves. We appreciate that. Sorry we don't have the microphone unless, let's see. Maybe you have to hit it or something. I don't know. Well, yeah, but I think it may go out, but if you want to use it, so I'd like to introduce Mayor Charlie Latham for the City of Jacksonville Beach.
Can you guys hear me okay? Yeah. Great. Pardon me? Please use the mic. You can't hear me from right there? Okay. I'm going to use it until it peters out on us, but thank you very much for being here. Thank you, Sandy and the Beaches Watch, for all that you continue to do for our community. And, you know, it's a great honor for me to be here tonight as a front man for such an amazing team. We have a great team in Jacksonville Beach. We have a lot of success stories, and it's hard to really cover everything in 15 minutes. So excuse me if I go just a little bit fast. But Sandy, I asked her 20 minutes and she told me no. We've had a lot of good accomplishments over the last year. A lot of exciting things happening in Jacksonville Beach. We've continually lowered your millage rate every single year. Since 2012, our millage rate was 4.2226. This year it's 3.8947, which means we dropped your millage rate 0.3279, which is fairly substantial. We've done the same with your electric rates. Your electric rates have been reduced $15 per 1,000 kilowatt hours over the last 5 years. And that saves residential customers an average of somewhere between $15 and $30 a month, depending on how big your house is. And for businesses, that's hundreds of dollars, depending on how big their business is and their electrical use is. Property values in Jacksonville Beach have gone up 8% in the last year. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the highest increase of property values in the state of Florida, north of Orlando. So that's pretty substantial. Most of us, I'd like to say it's all my responsibility. You know, most of us, our house is our biggest investment, so that kind of an appreciation of value on the house is obviously very important. Our city continues to exhibit exceptional fiscal management, and we continue to be ready to be debt-free in 2020. And for a city the size of Jacksonville Beach, that's no small feat. It's a tribute to all the leadership we've had in Jacksonville Beach for the last 20 years or so, with Mr. Forbes back there and Harry Royal before, our old CFO, and a lot of good, hard decisions were made, and we're in very good shape because of that. We've raised our number of CAPE officers from 4 to 9 in the last 3 years. Homeless rate has been reduced 50% since 2012. Lori Anderson at the Mission House, Cindy, thank you, Funk Capture at the Salzbacher Center. I go to church with her, I don't know what's wrong with me. But they've contributed to this effort with us as well. The CHOP program that was vetted about 2 years ago through the system has a lot of credit for that. We've recognized chronic offenders. We've let them know that there's tough love. If you continue to violate the law, you're going to spend a long time in jail if you don't take our offer to get some rehabilitation. And it's worked really well. Our downtown action plan was completed after almost 2 years of meetings, studies, and analysis. And a lot of you folks in this room actually participated in our surveys and tours that we gave downtown as we put this together. The action plan is a family-oriented plan, and by that we mean it makes the city appealing to people of all ages, not just young adults that want to go to the bars. And it has 6 parts to it: public spaces, transportation, public safety, commercial spaces, entertainment, and quality of life. And without going into tremendous detail, some of the things that are going to be impacted by this: Oceanfront Park, we're taking away the porta potties and building some restrooms. Expansion of the pavilion, we're putting an expansion in the back part of the pavilion to allow performing artists to come in to have more room and kind of take it up a notch so that we can get, okay. What did you say? Did you say?
The bottom, because the battery was the bottom.
The other?
Nope, okay.
Sorry. Same thing with public art. You're going to see a lot of new public art in Jacksonville Beach. Pod-type seating is going to be all over our downtown area. We're doing some improvements to signage, the fishing pier. Where's Bill? We're not taking it this year, but we'll talk to you next year. The fishing pier, Bill Gullifer has championed some money from the city of Jacksonville to help us. Everybody knows the fishing pier belongs to Jacksonville, but we bought the last 300 feet, or built the last 300 feet. We're working together to keep it up, and working with Bill Gullifer, our beloved councilman from Jacksonville and Atlantic Beach, makes it that much easier. Bike racks. Chris Hoffman is a big advocate for bike racks. We're going to see not only bike racks, but artistic bike racks all over the city. That'll be under a branding theme that we're working on now. Bike paths. Roundabouts, we're going to do something about our roundabouts. Everybody says, how come one has stop signs and one has yield signs? Well, we're going to fix that too. Pedestrian safety is an issue we're continuing to work on through the plan. Public safety, managing the nighttime economy. We know we have a problem down in downtown, we still do. And we're coming up with some creative solutions, and I'll talk about that toward the end of the time frame. Commercial spaces, we're looking at business development through long-term public-private relationships with business owners. And there's some exciting things happening. We're focusing an emphasis on hotels and restaurants. How many of you have been to St. Pete Beach? St. Pete Beach is a pretty doggone nice place. And you know, they got bistros and pubs and everything else. And it's just beautiful, it's clear, all ages are there. And that's a nice goal to set for us, and that's a nice example for us to work from, or a template. And so we've got some exciting plans to do that as well. Entertainment, more family-friendly events, adding some additional venues, additional movies rather, a skateboard park. I see that Mary's here, Mary Phillips, who's, let's give Mary Phillips a hand for all she's doing. Wavemaker Awards here in Jacksonville Beach, and they're both here. Curtis Loftus is in the background, we'll talk about him in a minute. And Mary Phillips here, who teaches at the middle school, has done so much to engage our kids and get them involved in the process in City Hall. And you know, it all, I know we looked at it several years ago at the skateboard park, but when this young man stood up there and said, you know, hey, let's look at it again, it was democracy in action. And it's kind of exciting that we're getting close to the point where he's going to be there with us at a ribbon cutting. Other things, we successfully negotiated a pension reform with all three unions without arbitration. And we're funded at about between 80 and 90%. And again, when you consider what's going on the other side of the ditch with our brothers over there, we're in pretty good shape. State has committed $30 million to improve our 50-year plus flooding problem, North A1A. A lot of work from a lot of people to get that commitment from the state. Looking forward to the design implementation being completed, construction starting hopefully by the end of the year, and certainly by early next year. But 50 years ago we had the problem, and it's exciting to know that we're close to making a substantial improvement. Beach refurbishment, Harriet already mentioned, you know, we will all work hard together to secure that through the federal government, state and local government. Thanks to Andrew Crenshaw for his work on it. Aaron Bean and Janet Atkins, Bill Gullifer, they all played a role. And Kevin Bodge, too, from our consultant from the movies. Kevin, are you here tonight? He's not here tonight, but Kevin does a lot of work for us as well in making that happen. Jacksonville Beach has received accolades from several national publications, including USA Today, the Huffington Post, and Harris Poll. I'm going to read some of them at the end if we have a couple of minutes, but I want to keep going to make sure we get all this done. Some of our family-friendly improvements, we already mentioned the skateboard park that will be up probably by summer. Is that about right, George? And we've increased the number of outdoor movies at the plaza. Deck the Chairs continues to grow every year with the support of Jacksonville Beach. Fireworks, 3 years. I mean, if you remember 4 years ago, we didn't have fireworks, and it's gone well. And it's gone well not by luck, but by all the hard work of our chief of police in the back room, Pat Dooley, our fire chief, Gary Frazier, and the police officers and fire officers that stand out there and make sure things are well covered. Air show went really well this year. We're going to have it again next year, 2 years in a row, before we go back into our every other year rotation. Car walks and car shows. John McGowan, where are you? You were here just a minute ago. Well, he's not here. Yeah, come on in, Adelaide. John McGowan and Better Jacks Beach have done a lot for our city, particularly down at the plaza and in our downtown with the car shows and the art walks. So John, thank you very much, and to your crew for doing that. We're continuing to replace infrastructure east of A1A from Beach Boulevard to 4th Avenue South in 2016. And I'm just checking my time here, sorry. Good, I got 5 whole minutes. We're committed to completing all the way down to 16th Avenue South, and that's a 4-year project that's fully underway with us. So we're continuing to work the infrastructure issues, including all the way back on 10th Street as well. All the things that matter, the sewage and water, curb and gutter, and we're working hard to make that happen. We're working on a new parking lot downtown on 2nd Street between 3rd and 4th Avenue North. And we also recently responded very quickly to a Supreme Court decision in June that impacted our ability to regulate signs in our community. You know, that doesn't sound like a really big deal, but it really was a big deal, mainly because our staff, including our attorney, worked very quickly to modify through the council our law, our local law, our ordinances to be in compliance with the Supreme Court decision, and saved us potentially a lot of money in lawsuits and a lot of problems. So grateful to the staff for that. Talk a little bit about our priorities. We're going to continue to work diligently on the action plan. We're going to continue working with our local businesses on the public-private opportunities within downtown. As I mentioned earlier, we do have a continued problem downtown with alcohol, primarily, alcohol-related issues. And, you know, we got a lot of people that do things the right way and run their establishments the right way, and we got a few bad actors. And it's created some problems for us. I ride, as some of the other council members do, I ride with the police pretty regularly, everywhere between every 1 and 2 months. And spend a lot of time down there at closing at 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock, and I see with my own eyes where the problems are. One of the things that's going to take place over the next year or so is that we're going to take a more active role working with the state agencies to get them involved to help us with the bad actors. So hopefully we'll see some improvement there. Going to accomplish our infrastructure all over the city, the projects that we talked about, curb and gutter, sewage, water, and okay, what can citizens do? You know, Mitch said it best, stay involved. We have, I see about 4 or 5 of you here that are at every meeting we have, and that's great, and I appreciate you doing that. And I continue to ask you to invite your neighbors as well, because feedback from the local citizens is more important to us than anything else. We never forget, I can assure you I never do, that at the top of our organizational chart, you guys are on the top. We work for you. So keep us posted if there's something you need us to do. Chief Dooley and I also conduct roughly monthly town hall meetings. And we usually meet with neighborhood associations, condo associations, schools. It's a good opportunity. We're there primarily to take feedback and listen to hear what you have to say. So if you'd like us to do that in your neighborhood association or condo association, please contact me or Chief Dooley, and we'll set that up in our schedule. I'm going to read a couple of these kudos that are pretty exciting. One of them mainly because Curtis is back there. We made People magazine. We made People magazine because they wrote a story on Christmas across America, a unique way to celebrate the holidays in each state. Florida was decked with chairs. So Curtis, thank you very much. These are kind of fun. There's a bunch of them here. Movoto, it's a real estate organization that does rankings all over the country. The 10 best dressed suburbs in America. Jacksonville Beach ranked number 3. America's hottest beach towns. Yahoo Travel. We were ranked number 8 nationally. Most popular U.S. beaches from Ocean City to Honolulu, as reported by the Daily Beast. We ranked number 13. 10 sexiest suburbs in America are ranked number 2, and that's only because George is here. It's funny, the same group also. George wants to know why you're laughing. The same group also gave us the 10 most dangerous suburbs. We ranked number 9. So it's kind of funny. And then just to clarify on that, they like to benchmark at 100,000. So since we have almost 25,000 people, they took one murder in 2014 and multiplied it 4 times. And said, yeah, you guys are pretty dangerous. So. 10 most exciting suburbs in America, ranked number 7. Best cities in Florida for young families, ranked number 7. Most popular beaches by Daily Beast, this was 2011, but ranked number 1. We had, there's a program, everybody's probably relatively familiar with TripAdvisor. Several things here. One from North Carolina. The person said it's a short stay for us on the way to Miami, but what a gem of a beach. Next time we'll stay longer. Got one from Jacksonville. What a great time in Jack's Beach yesterday for the 4th of July celebration. All day long, bikes and people were flooding the streets in unison to celebrate the 4th of July. Visitors and locals, like me, enjoyed all the activities. It was good to see. It was good to ride the bikes with thousands of others. The day was complete with an outstanding fireworks display on the beach. It does not get any better than this. From England, second time visiting, great stretch of beach, clean, goes for miles. This is pretty exciting stuff when people are writing this on their own accord in our, on the internet, on these different blogs. There was one other blog by a couple called Two Travel Dads, and the very, very long blog at the end is really cool. If it's not clear already, Jacksonville Beach won our hearts. It's great to find a place that you can't wait to return to, and with the great food and accommodations close by, we have no reason not to return. We did learn, though, that the next time we need to do a lot more time for the beach, the pier, the nightlife just off the beach, and it's kind of cool with a Venice Beach, California vibe, artists and performers all over the place. John, again, that's a lot has to do with you and your group. So, pretty exciting. We're making some headway. We're getting to become a destination point. We got a great team. We have a great city staff. We have a great city council. We've got a great police department, a great fire department. This is one of the greatest teams I've ever been a part of in my life. I mean that sincerely. I want to congratulate also Neptune and Atlantic Beach because they've had a lot of media accolades recently also. And you know, the one recurring theme is that Jacksonville Beaches is a great place to live. And I know I've said since my campaign, and I know the other two agree with me as well, we're 3 cities, but we're one community, and it's a pretty doggone nice community to live in. Thank you very much.
So if we have questions, if you want to raise your hand, and okay, Lori?
Thank you, Mayors. We obviously have 3 awesome cities. I think Neptune Beach is the best, but we like yours too. But we have all this money and development and new people coming in. We got all these, you know, rich, fancy people in Atlantic Beach and even richer and fancier at South Jacks Beach. What do you all think that the beaches are going to look like in 5, 10 years, and how do we preserve our high quality of life?
It's going to look newer. It's not going to look bigger. It's not going to become Fort Lauderdale. It's not going to become Daytona Beach. Jacksonville Beach is going to get newer. It's going to get cleaner. It's going to get safer. And we're going to see more families. What do you guys think?
I just have a question. Somebody touched on it about the state saying about rentals. Mm-hmm. And I know in the past we had a law, I think it said that you had to rent for at least 3 months, something like what the Keys have. But then I got on Zillow the other day looking at rentals, and I was finding all these rentals for 3 days in neighborhoods in Jacksonville Beach. So has that changed now? We are allowing rentals in Jacksonville?
It's going to be in the legislature again this year. I know there's a lot of discussion about it. For those of you that don't know, we all have other jobs too, and my other job is on legislative affairs for waste management. So I spend a lot of time in Tallahassee, and I spend a lot of time representing not just waste management, but also the city of Jacksonville Beach. And I'll certainly be very closely involved in discussions as they move forward. But there's not a whole lot to tell you now other than stay tuned.
So you can rent for 3 days in neighborhoods now?
Right now, my understanding is there's nothing that would prohibit that. Is that correct, George?
Yes.
Yeah, right now, the state has preempted the municipalities from regulating that business. Now, if you had an ordinance before the state regulation went into effect, it's grandfathered in. So basically, that's been up the last several legislative sessions to try and allow the municipalities to regulate the rental business, but it's been defeated every time.
Yes, sir.
Is it possible for Neptune Beach to enter into a contract with the Kmart shopping center parking area to help resolve some of the issues in the downtown parking for Neptune Beach and Atlantic Beach? They can put up signs, things like that, town center parking, things of that nature.
Well, I think the town center agency has looked into it, but for the city of Neptune Beach, it's private property. We might can support the town center and certainly bring it up for discussion, but it is private property. And I do know that they are working on getting that property developed. So, but that has been brought up.
Mayor Latham, I ride a road bicycle, and between June and October, there's a lot of bicyclists who ride to get ready for the MS 150, which is a charity ride. And I know in Jack's Beach, and I think it is the bike lane, there are little cutouts that are squares that evidently there's been construction done, fixed, but they're not level. And to ride a road bike in the proper place is extremely dangerous. Why have they not been fixed?
Well, we do have infrastructure changes taking place primarily east of 3rd Street. Does this happen to be east of 3rd Street?
This is on First Street, and it's been at least 3 years.
There's a substantial amount in four block increments, infrastructure improvement taking place starting this year. So there's some patchwork that's been done,
Yes.
but we're doing some long-term infrastructure fixing and repaving the road, remarking the road. The other thing I'll tell you too is I also serve as all 3 beach representatives to the training TPO, the Transportation Planning Organization. And we've also commissioned a bike study from all the way from Riverside to the beaches and all the way from Jacksonville Beach to Mayport. So we're also looking at the logistics of bikes, not just the physical environment to ride a bike, but also where's the best place to put the bike path, what's the best way to be able to commute as a pedestrian or on a bicycle, and that's coming.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Pat, this is always an opportunity for me to talk to all 3 of you at once, and we are one community. I have worked for many years on pedestrian issues. I am continuing to pick at them a little bit. There's been no talk tonight about pedestrian safety. It's a very complex issue. I'm aware of that. I went to many meetings, and I know the complexity of it. But there's one thing I'm going to ask you to do, to consider training your officers on what is the pedestrian right for when they use the crosswalks appropriately, and to consider ticketing individuals that are endangering our lives.
I will tell you, when we mentioned the downtown action plan, the pedestrian safety I mentioned quickly, we do have a plan to put a crosswalk across 3rd Street over by 4th Avenue North, is that about right? 2nd Avenue North. And it'll be, our problem is that that's the biggest problem street in Jacksonville Beaches in general, and it's a state road. So we don't have the authority to manipulate any of the traffic patterns or the pedestrian patterns without the state.
And I understand the complexity of, I used to ask about lights, and I had a man named Chris Ledoux who worked with me for many years. So it's a very complex issue. But as you know, we were just quoting statistics. Jacksonville is 3rd, well, Florida is 1st in the country and responsible for 20% of all pedestrian deaths in the country. And Jacksonville's number 3 in the state.
I understand.
And you know that we have a lot of pedestrians.
We do.
And but the issue of training and officer training, and for those of us who do know what our rights are on a crosswalk, it would be so nice to see someone give a ticket who almost runs us over.
Well, we have put on 3rd Beach, the chief put the big yellow flash or the big yellow sign saying pedestrians have right of way in the sidewalk. And also, I can assure you, every time we have an event where it tends to, the population tends to bleed across 3rd Street, we do have extra officers out watching. They're one of the most meticulous group of people I've ever seen. The problem we have, and I hate to sound silly, is just you can't legislate behavior. You can't fix stupid. One of the biggest problems we have is that people are 2 blocks from a light and they're going to walk across 3rd Street.
I understand all that.
Right,
That's
okay.
true. They can be 10 feet. That's complicated. But for those of us who
Yes,
do
ma'am.
go and push the button, I've also been concerned. I am working on the intersection of Atlantic and 3rd, specifically with FDOT. But again, I just want to say the speed limit, and I know what FDOT has told me, and I know what you guys are going to tell me, the speed limit on Seminole Road, no, not on Seminole Road, A1A in Mayport is 45 miles an hour, and people go 55 miles an hour, and it's a very dangerous road. So I promised myself to be a little bit more pushy this year with FDOT and get it right. Why we cannot get that considered, because it's even difficult for people who drive cars and want to turn.
Let's you and I speak briefly afterwards too, because I do represent Atlantic and Neptune Beach and the TPO as well, and I can share your concerns with the group.
But anyway, thank you.
Thank you.
Sam?
Yes, I'm Sam Hall. Mayor Latham, I want to ask you a question about the collaboration between the Jacksonville Transportation Authority and the beaches to try to relieve the parking, the congestion there. I think it was supposed to be like a highlight or something. What's the status of that?
Well, there's two different things we're talking about, Sam. The JTA, we've worked with a tremendous amount of time and effort to try and find the right solution to move people through the trolley system and the bus system, use remote parking areas to shuttle folks in. We've tried it 2 years in a row. JTA has spent a tremendous amount of money, and it hasn't been successful because you know what the biggest problem is right now? Uber. The people get on the app and they get a cheap ride to and from, and so when we put all that money and time into building an infrastructure to support mass transit, they're just spending money that isn't showing a return. So that's one piece. The other piece, on private property, we're continuing to work on public-private relationships. The big lot there on 3rd and Beach is owned by a local man who most of us know. We're in continuing discussions with him to find a way that maybe we can propose a solution where the city could contribute a participatory level that would allow us to engage some of the parking of that environment. I can't talk about it too much because we're still in early discussion, but it's one of those things, Sam, that we constantly work on. And you know, private property is exactly that. We can't dictate anything. We have to work with the owners to make that happen. And we're getting close. So hopefully we'll have some exciting things in the next year.
Bill?
Thank you, Sandy. 2 quick announcements. I want everyone to know for the first time in the history of the relationship between Jacksonville and the beaches, Jacksonville will be picking up $25,000 of the cost of fireworks this July. Could never happen. Went against 18 and just didn't work, but you can wear them down, George.
You're going to be waiting for a second.
The truth is, tell him how many times I had to get on his back to get the money.
And George Forbes is not somebody you want to have on your back. The other thing is, I've got $100,000 of park money.
We'll take it.
And I just want to, yeah, I know you will, but you're not going to get all of it. I do have to put a little bit towards the small park in the San Pablo area, but the rest of it, as long as it's in park, so I figured this would be an appropriate time to tell you all that. That's great. And I'll be expecting your calls tomorrow morning. Or else, in your case, you'll be tackling me on the way outside. And lastly,
remember what city you live in.
And who won't pick up my garbage if I don't actually?
Oh, 100,000, I'll come pick up your garbage.
And lastly, when you call 630-1397, which is my office number downtown, you'll get a very pleasant voice. Stan Johnson, who was my ECA, Executive Council Assistant, and he was yours, Dick, and for a time, and several other people, Art Graham, they called him Mini Me, because he looked so much like Art, but he was short. He decided to retire. I think the real story is he had too much of me. But I have replaced him with a wonderful lady who I've known for a number of years, and she's doing a great job already, and I encourage you to get to know her. I'm going to get her to spend more time out here with the various city governments because I want her to understand that, and I want her to stand up. She's very shy, by the way. This is Carol Harper. So to accommodate you in whatever problem or opportunity you have. So please do call her. And with that, thank you all.
Thank you. Thanks for all you do, Bill.
I have a question for Mitch. I've lived at the beach since 1955, and the Times Union, Beach's Leader, Beach News have always brought up a sort of issue in Atlantic Beach, and it's like a tale of two cities. And, you know, you have Mayport Road, and tonight you pointed out Seminole Road as your most vital artery and most important road. and everything like that, most traveled, the gateway to your city and everything like that. But from my perspective, you know, Mayport Road is 100% Atlantic Beach, and it's just, you know, 180 degrees from the neighborhood and Seminole Road and everything like that. Like it's a tale of two cities, like I said. And y'all haven't, you didn't mention anything about doing anything, you know, west, in the western area. Everything seems to be like centered around that area. And it's been that way before you took office.
I understand.
But it's like there should be some change coming in the future to do something for the whole community there. I live in Jacksonville, so I really don't have a dog in that fight, but I've read the paper
No, that's
for
okay.
50 years.
And you know what? I really appreciate you asking that question because it gives me a little bit of time to explain something that I did do during that time. We're in the process of, this Monday night, we will be appointing people to advisory board for CRA for the Mayport corridor. What we're looking at is the previous commission, they dedicated $92,000 to do a study to see if we can do a CRA over there, which will improve that area. So that money was already spent. It's already approved. It's already started. So we're going to go follow through and see if we want to do that. The other thing, and the reason I mentioned the corridor in Seminole is, you know, Mayport is a state road. It's controlled sort of by the state and everything on 81A, and I was referring to that. One thing that I said from the very beginning, that we as a community, that has been a very issue for many years, way before I even came here about that. And what we need to start doing is stop referring to the west side and the east side. We're all one city. We need to refer to how to do things in the city. And I assure you, what we're spending on that side, and we're looking at places over there, many years ago, they changed some things about what businesses could come in. We were going to do some, and people have to try. You got to make mistakes to be successful. You can't just not take chances. What that happened was, it really did not help the area. What it did, it restricted businesses coming in there. So what happened, warehouses, different places, they just sat there empty. So now we have to work with them. How do we work to get people back in there? How do we do back into that community, the safety of that community? How do we visit that community? There is dollars being spent. I didn't go through there. The parks money, there's a lot of money being spent over there. We've spent a lot of money. We're going to spend some money on both sides. But we need to always start thinking about a city as a whole and not the west and not the east.
I got a comment. I heard him talk about how Jacksonville Beach had all these accolades. And Atlantic Beach just got the laid-back city, one of the top 10, right? I've decided that what we need to do is go on a campaign and name Neptune Beach the best little city to go through. To walk the roadway, so let's work on that.
According to Momoco.com, Neptune Beach is the #1 best suburb of Jacksonville.
Feel better.
I do want to make a comment about that. I was very disappointed when I read that article in the Times-Union because we really would like to keep that a secret. So please do not spread that article. I stay there in that area.
All right, well, thank you all for coming tonight, and we certainly thank the mayor, Mayor Pruette, Mayor Latham, and Mayor Reeves for being here tonight.